Aired.
Action.
Underberg. I am not a sales rep for Underberg, but I do like this product. So in our world tour of digestive bitters, like we talked about when we covered digestion and digestive bitters, most of this is going to come from our European tradition, where it's still an active part of culture. So one of the oldest available herbal medicines in the Western world that's been around for 175 years. I think 160 some years in America. 160 years in America, exactly. 175-year-old company, 5th generation, based out of Germany, the Underberg bitters. So Underberg is the family name. They still run the company. They are herbs from 43 countries, kind of like Jägermeister's story. Nobody knows how they make it. It's a family secret but they're aged and fermented in special oak caskets. I think they're from Croatia or something. And this is intense. This is not like bitters for the light of heart. So they will say, and you can get even a bitters glass, which is like this fancy wine like glass thing, to just take a shot of the whole thing. I do not recommend that because it is so intense. But you can buy these at restaurants. You can buy these at alcohol stores, sell these a lot. You can buy them online. There's all kinds of merch. It's kind of like the old Joe Camel days, but it's healthy. You can get your Underberg bitters merch. But I do not personally recommend just taking a shot of the whole one unless you really, really need it. So in Europe, this would be done like before or after eating or overeating, or before or after drinking alcohol or consuming anything really hard to digest. This is not something you do on an empty stomach because it's pretty stout. So what we did was we just put one dose. This is 20 milliliters of a tincture, and that's what they want you to. This is almost 1 whole ounce of a tincture. That's why this is like a bit intense. So we diluted this probably 4 times with water, and that's what we're going to pass around. So everybody take a little dropper full of it. This is 4 times dilution. So I like to actually dilute it in water and just sip it. About half and half or 4 times dilution.
So what's the downside of drinking it all at once?
The downside is just it's so intense, you just instantly start salivating intensely. The main ingredient is, I'll pass this around. The main ingredient is the herb gentian. We don't know what all species they use, but you might want to need a couple shots of that at that dose. So a little too diluted, but
You can taste it.
yeah. You can still taste it at that dilution.
It's like,
So when we go to Oktoberfest next weekend, right? Underberg is available. You can also mix it with other
those
aperitifs like Jägermeister and things, but it's just a very intense bitters. I don't recommend doing it full force.
You need reservations.
Can't
for
find out
Oktoberfest.
No reservations for Oktoberfest.
It's so
It would
good.
Seriously? Yes, let's go.
We have a class trip or something for it, maybe. So nobody knows the ingredients of this. We just know there's probably at least 20 to 40 or more different herbs, similar to Jägermeister. We don't know how many there is. It's diluted, so.
Just getting the doping started.
So because of the gentian, remember when we talked about gentian, gentian is the most intense bitters that stimulates a lot of acid, bile, and enzyme production. So this is something when you need something a little stouter. So if you're a really sensitive type, this is probably not the best bet, or you would dilute this two times or 3 times or 4 times. How does the 4 times dilution doing?
Yeah,
at least it takes the bite out of it, but you still get.
Takes the
Yeah,
bite
there's
out
really
of it.
So it's got
Yeah.
all anesthetic licorice.
I don't know. It's not super anisey to me, but everybody saw a bottle of it.
That's what I do. I
So-
think it's yummy.
So
This is also a hangover remedy. Like if people are hungover, things you can take it, or a food hangover too, or food coma or meat sweats.
This should be
so
definitely
before
a
Oktoberfest, you're
Thanksgiving.
gonna have it.
It should be a
before,
Thanksgiving
So,
on the table at Thanksgiving and holidays and 4th of July.
So Oktoberfest, you're gonna take this before you go or after you come back?
You take it when you're there. You can usually buy them there.
Yeah, then shove a bratwurst down.
Yep, then you eat a bunch of bratwurst immediately and sauerkraut and homemade potato dumplings and all those things, right? So Underberg bitters for die Lebergesundheit, right, Shay? Das ist sehr gut für die Lebergesundheit.
They're good.
Sehr gut, sehr gut.
So.
So Prost, everybody.
Does it help with like reflux and tummy?
It can
ache?
help, just like we talked with bitter, literally anything from your mouth, stomach, intestines, but it's just intense. So I don't recommend doing it undiluted unless you're like a bitters connoisseur or can handle it. Like I told you when we were at Oktoberfest one year, and my dad, he used to party a lot. And I made him do an entire shot of this, and his eyes were just like, like it almost like bitters are also very good when you have mental fog and like you just need to like clear your mind. And like a huge like shot of bitters like this will do that sometimes.
Why would a bar carry it? Because that's where I saw it at bars.
A bar would carry this because traditionally you would use bitters in like an old fashioned, a lot of cocktails, especially with all the new millennials. Bitters are now an in thing again. So they're using a lot of different craft cocktails. As herbalists, we use them just alone or with water. I can't tell you how many times I've been at bars and restaurants and treated people with just whatever commercial bitters they had behind the counter. People are usually like, "You want that?" I'm like, "Yeah, just in a glass." "Oh, really?" Okay.
If you put it in
Yeah.
with seltzer
Yeah,
water,
what,
no
like
one
5
asks.
drops?
you.
Seltzer water is good to mix it with, or yeah, that's a good thing. A little bit of water. Yeah, in lower doses. I wouldn't slam them with the huge dose. So, Underberg bitters.
asking for a
Um,
friend.
Probably the strongest of all the commercial bitters. And you can get merch if you collect all your tabs and stuff. You can get t-shirts, get all kinds of stuff, hats, cool stuff. So questions on Underberg bitters? Was denken Sie? Okay, let's call bitters done.